did not realize that, Lily dang Lolo. It's hard to put a fine enough point on how much I hated this product at first. She's going on patchy. What's up guys? Welcome back. Today is going to be a full face of the brand Lily Lolo. It is a clean, beauty, affordable makeup brand that you guys have been requesting a full face of for a while. So I have a ton of products in front of me that really did not cost me very much money. We're going to be trying all of them today and doing a full wear test. So I have their BB Cream, I have a couple of blushes and like blush duos here, I have their setting powder, I have their very strange powder concealer that we tested in one video, but I'm excited to kind of show you guys that again, and also a lip gloss. So we're going to talk about the claims, we're going to talk about the company, we're going to talk about all the ingredients and whatnot, but first, I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we're gonna put the makeup on my face and just kind of talk through it. So let's do it. So my skin is all done right now. I have my normal skincare on, and then I have my CEO Rapid Flash Brightening Serum from Sunday Riley, as well as the Sunday's Seashells Daily Sunscreen, Physical SPF 30. So we're gonna start with the BB Cream here. I'm gonna give this a little shady shake, and I'm gonna put this on with a sponge. It does come with a nice little pump lid, so that's very hygienic, thank you, Lily Lolo. Oh my gosh, that is so light. Let's see how it shears out. I didn't think that I bought it that light. My goodness. Okay, it's super low coverage. Super low coverage. Okay, I'm like less distressed about that now. It smells kind of nice. Kind of like, I want to say like citronella-y? Or is that the soap that I used to wash my beauty blender? I don't know. Whoo! But we are talking like a winter skin tone for me. It's a little on the side of being too cool, too pale. So again, I have the shade Fair. Maybe I should have gone up to whatever the next one is. I'm not working with any lights today. If there's like spots that aren't blended very well, forgive me. I just don't want to blow out the shot so much that you guys can't see detail. So I'm kind of flying blind a little bit right now. In the summertime, when I put my makeup on, I like to enhance my healthy skin look, try and look a little bit tanner, and that just like sucked the life out of my face. So I think, at the risk of totally like blowing the wear test, which I don't think that it's going to because it's going to be such a small amount, I'm going to see if we can layer this a little bit, and I'm going to add some of my Drunk Elephant Debronzy in there. This is just a real life wear test. This is how I would wear it anyway, so we're just gonna see. Debronzy is so good for maintaining the undertones of your makeup while still deepening it if your skin changes, like in, you know, seasonally in the summertime and stuff. So just gonna layer that up a little bit. This is so lightweight, I like can't even explain how low coverage we're talking. And on their website, they do say if you want more coverage that you can use their mineral powder, like their mineral powder foundation on top of it, but I am not a powder foundation person, so I did not spend my money on that. I also did not, sorry to disappoint anybody who was hoping for this, spend my money on their honestly a little bit pricey eyeshadow palettes, mainly because none of them thrilled me. I just looked at the shades and I just had flashbacks of the Aerie Perez eyeshadow palettes, and I was like, no. And you know, at some point on my channel, it's like, you know, do I test everything because my allegiance is to being thorough, or is my allegiance also partially to making practical decisions based on what I think is actually worth my money? You know, kind of like leading by example, and I just don't think that those eyeshadow palettes are worth my money. They're just going to sit around. That's the last thing I need. So the Debronzy did help, and it did build a little bit. I feel like once the first layer dried down, and it did dry down, it didn't stay greasy or oily. This is a company, a brand that does self-identify as natural makeup. Sometimes we talk about natural, sometimes we talk about clean. And to me, it all depends on how that brand decides to self-identify. Like someone said, oh, I thought that Fleur was a natural company. Fleur does not self-identify as natural. They self-identify as clean. And that is a pursuit all of their own, you know, however they decide to go about that. But I do think that there is a difference. And so when we're talking about natural makeup, a lot of times we get into the territory of things behaving in a kind of like greasy, you're very aware of it being a natural makeup kind of formula. And this doesn't have that. I do feel like this behaves like a normal makeup, if that makes sense. So you still see some of my freckles. We're going to have to use a different concealer. We talked about this briefly. I can't remember, it was a few videos ago, and I used the powder concealer from Lily Lolo to kind of enhance some coverage and brightening under my eyes. However, I tried using it 6 ways from Sunday before I figured that out and realized that it's not a concealer in that sense. It's more of a high pigment powder foundation that you can use like in selective areas. I would liken it to a loose version of the MAC Studio Fix pressed powder. It is not meant to be like mixed with a liquid or used straight on top of the skin, and so I am going to go with my Cover FX Power Play Concealer underneath my eyes, which honestly is kind of the same color as the rest of my face right now because we did lighten everything so much with that foundation, but we're just gonna roll with it. I do have a couple of blemishes, so you will get to see the concealer, the powder concealer in action. But overall, I do think that even though this doesn't have like a sunscreen in it or anything, like it's not an all-in-one kind of face product, this BB cream, like it could satisfy the needs for a lot of you guys. Granted, we're gonna wear test it. I do wanna see how it performs over the course of the day, and I am gonna give this a run for its money. I feel like as I've gotten better at doing makeup, I don't know, just by trial and error, that my wear tests often are like sort of middle of the road. Everything just kind of performs okay because I'm so careful with my face. I feel like that was something that I did in the early days of my channel, was be really, really careful with a face of makeup because I honestly thought that if it didn't perform well, that was more of a referendum on my skills than the actual makeup. So I always tried to like make it perform as optimally as possible. Like somewhere in my brain that was scientific. But to me now, kind of knowing that all of this stuff, like I can get it to perform, now I want to like do yoga. Not hot yoga, but like, you know, break a little bit of a sweat and just see what happens. Because I think that anybody with the right primer and the right setting spray and stuff like that, like any makeup can be made to kind of perform. I mean, with exceptions, honestly, like the Burt's Bees foundation, that's an exception. I can't get that stuff to perform. But most of this stuff, I do feel like I could get it to perform in optimal conditions. So we're going to create suboptimal conditions. It also helps because whenever I do a wear test, it's like an 8-hour, 9-hour commitment. And so I don't want to like not do anything that day. That's how it used to be for me. I would just be like, well, I can't do anything, can't go to the pool, can't exercise, can't do anything because I'm doing a wear test. I'm like, nope, I need to live my life in these wear tests. That's actually like a better service to you. Okay, so we're going to now go in with their loose powder. This is the Translucent Silk Finishing Powder. They didn't cut any corners packaging wise. It does come in that like little slidey window situation. And I'm just gonna tap some of that out. This could be a very good option for a lot of you guys who like, you know, don't want to spend Ilia money on a setting powder. So far, so beautiful, guys. I'm gonna do a little bit more here, just as an insurance policy. Make sure everything goes on really smoothly. Oh no, my nose is running. What else is new? Welcome to my channel. So I'm actually gonna wait on the powder concealer. I'm gonna put it on to help clean up the inevitable mess I'm about to make with my bronzer and all of my cheek products. If you're new here, I put on at least 5 cheek products, including 2 different kinds of bronzers, 2 different kinds of blushes, and a highlight. We're actually going to probably be putting on more than that today because I thought that this was going to be a bronzer and highlight duo, and it's actually a blush and highlight duo. So I have this blush and highlight, which is called Coralista Cheek Duo. And then I also have this little blush in the shade Tickled Pink. This is just the regular pressed blush. So because of that, I don't have a bronzer, so I'm going to zoom through doing my regular blonde. Gosh, I always do that, bronzer. I'm just gonna zoom through doing my bronzer routine and I'll be right back. She's going on patchy. This is just a very like tacky tacky makeup situation that I've got going on right now. I mean, we're gonna make it work, but a mess. God. So I said that there was a dry down. It's not as dry down as I thought it was gonna be. Like, it's still definitely tacky and it still really tried to grab my bronzer, so bear that in mind. Maybe it's just that the setting powder isn't particularly drying, which is fine. It's just something to keep in mind. If you're seeing pigmentation on my upper lip, it's because I keep wiping my nose, so it's not the makeup's fault. We'll be able to remedy that with the powder concealer, but first, let's do some blush and maybe some highlight. This right here, the Tickled Pink, is shimmery, and then this right here in the Coralista Cheek Duo is matte. So let's go in with both. Someone recently asked me, do you always use the same brush for bronzer and then blush? How do you keep the blush from just putting bronzer all over your face? And to that I say, yes. So this is the shimmery kind of, honestly like a lighter, look at that. Did I show you the swatch? Did I show you the swatch? Like, where's my brain right now? So that's actually the swatch of the one that I'm putting on right now, the individual pan Tickled Pink. And it's really pretty. It's almost like a highlighter-y tone when you swatch it. It's like really, really like light colored. It's not gonna put a whole bunch of like crazy pigment on my face, which I love. Look at that. That's beautiful. And of course, we'll tone it down with some mattes, but I just appreciate when I find a blush that's just kind of a mixing medium, right? And I apologize that the light keeps changing. It's gonna make this look kind of less flattering probably, but you're gonna be able to see more detail. But yeah, I'm just using natural light today. Sometimes I do use the assistance of like a couple of lights just to help me out if it's super overcast, but it's like nice and sunny today with like the occasional cloud. So we're trying to hedge our bets here. Okay, so this is the swatch of the Coralista, which you can see is matte and a lot more pigmented. So I'm going to, yes, okay. I do like that color and I like the level of pigmentation. Like, have I ever met a blush I didn't like? No, but that's a really, really pretty kind of universal rosy color. I am gonna go in with a looser brush. A lot of you guys asked me what brush this is, and I think that this is the, I'm gonna link it below. It's an EcoTools brush, and it's not the full powder brush. It's like the fluffy powder. I don't know. It's not fluffy. That's not the word. But it is really loosely packed and fantastic for lightly diffusing a pigment or a product, and I use it for a ton of different stuff. And I do have the other one, the very fully packed one, which is also really beautiful. EcoTools makes great brushes for really great prices, so that's a lot of what I use. Like Thrive, EcoTools, and Real Techniques are the brushes that I use. Okay, I'm gonna say 9 out of 10 on those blushes. Granted, we've gone way too far, like as usual, like welcome to my channel, but pigmentation, spreadability, just ease of use, like that was super easy and a pleasure. Now I'm going to go in with my Well People Bio Brightener, and I'm going to just kind of clean up a couple of spots where I feel like I got a little too close to my nose. Because of the proportions of my face, if my blush gets too close to my nose, it makes my face look longer and it makes my eyes look closer together. Maybe that's just my imagination, or maybe that's the art school in me, but it just kind of throws off my proportions a little bit, and so I try and kind of keep the center of my face really nice and bright. The Bio Brightener always helps a lot. If you're unfamiliar with this product, it looks white, it's got the teeny tiniest bit of like translucent shimmer to it, and I feel like that shimmer quality is what helps sort of like go over everything and blend it a little bit. It helps everything like move around just a tiny, tiny bit. I'm also going to go in with my Cool Tone blush. This is just a little secret of mine to help kind of bring everything down a notch so that all that blush doesn't look so exaggerated. So this is the PYT Heartbeat Cheek Color in Exhale. It's a very lavender shade, and it just dampens everything down ever so slightly. Makes it look a little bit more natural. I mean, as natural as this much freaking pigment on your face can look. All right, we're going to use some highlighter from the Coralista Cheek Palette. Yeah, it looks really, really like gold in the palette. It's like kind of scary. You think it's gonna just like go on like eyeshadow, but it's actually very bright. So I'm going to use my little Thrive blush brush, dip it in that. The pan is nice and big. Make sure we're not doing anything crazy here. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Wow. Wow. It's not super silver. Obviously, it looks gold in the pan, so it's not going to be super silver, but like, I think that it would work for a lot of skin tones, I guess is my point. I'm also going to use this on my eyes because it's like really instantly brightening. I'm actually dabbing it off on the back of my hand first because it is so impactful. I hate that word, but it has a lot of impact, and so you can be a little too heavy-handed with it if you're not careful. But, I mean, that's freaking gorgeous. So you will notice that like the main thing we're kind of missing here is like brightness. It's definitely like shimmery, and we've got a lot of pigmentation, a lot of dimension and everything, but we need to pull the light back out. So that is when this comes in. This is the Lolo Mineral Concealer. It's hard to put a fine enough point on how much I hated this product at first, because I was just confounded by it. I was like, what is this for? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? So it comes out like this, and like I said, it really behaves a lot like the MAC Studio Fix Pressed Powder, and I got it again in the shade Blondie. It is a little light for me. I guess I hedged my bets a little too far towards the light category for everything that I got here, but it's kind of great at the same time. I'm gonna use a clean eyeshadow brush. This is kind of a large eyeshadow brush. This is the eyeshadow crease brush from Thrive, and it really is just kind of like a shrunken down face brush instead of being like a teeny tiny little detail brush. I use it a lot of times to kind of blow out an eye look or put on something just like really casually, like you do. You put on eyeshadow casually, but I'm just kind of dipping this in here and making sure it's really nice and even on the brush and kind of tapped off, because it's so pigmented, it's so effective at concealing that you can get little like dots. They'll blend, but it's easier to put it on right the first time. So I'm just going to apply that first, kind of where my powder and my concealer tend to crease underneath my eyes, and just kind of blend that out, and then also take it sort of underneath a little bit. The same way that I used to when I would like block out my under eye with my MAC powder back in the day, back before I knew any better, back when I had like tons and tons of acne and couldn't put two and two together. Look at the difference there. We have like a lifted, brightened kind of eye situation, and it is going to be less contrasty when I hit it with some finishing spray, but I do really like it, versus this where you can just see my tear troughs a little bit more. I'm not opposed to that, but like, this is such an easy thing to do. It's very satisfying, especially because a lot of times when we get done doing our makeup, the concealer under our eyes, and a lot of times the concealer over the places we really wanted it, has been knocked off. And we don't really know what to do about that, right? There's like no after fix for when you're done doing your makeup, being like, well, you know, I'd really like a little bit more coverage, but gosh darn it, like my concealer was like 5 steps ago, like what am I supposed to do? I can't put like a cream product on top. So this just really does the trick, and it can kind of be like you can get carried away. It's the word I tend to use is intoxicating, where you just sort of like go into a daze, just sort of like applying it, because you're like, wow, this is just really helpful. It's just kind of making everything better. So I can use it to highlight my brow bone, and the place I'm really excited to put it is on my mustache right now, my melasma mustache that I just keep touching because it's sticky, it's a little bit sweaty. My nose keeps running. And also, melasma is just an unholy biatch to cover. I'm gonna use this to kind of highlight on top of my nose. I'm just getting carried away. I like this stuff. Just kind of dabbing it where I need it. Even like a spot like that, it's not even really like a blemish, it's just kind of discoloration. This will just sort of blend that a little bit. And like I said, it's a little bit too light, but it's actually really great for brightening. So, you know, we have some contrast, mainly because the light is gonna hit that powder a little bit differently than it's hitting the rest of my face, just because it is kind of a denser, more like highly pigmented powder. But I will just kind of take a little bit of my Well People again, the Bio Brightener on that brush, and just kind of blend the edges, make sure everything looks really intentional and diffused, because I did just kind of like spot apply that everywhere, and it's incredibly effective. Like I look so much more put together when my under eyes are bright and when everything looks a little bit more lifted. I don't know if I'm surprising anyone here, but you know, once I get all that on, I think I need just a little bit more blush. So I'm going to go back in here with my kind of loose brush here and kind of bring that back up, because I don't want the Kardashian like eye shelf. You know, I don't want that just like white stripe underneath my eye. And just a teeny tiny bit of product can help sort of diffuse that a little bit. The only thing that we have left, I think, is the lip gloss. And so I'm going to zoom through putting the rest of my makeup on real quick, and we'll come back and just put the lip gloss on, and then we'll talk about ingredients and all that stuff. Oh, that's so refreshing. The Onami face spray, I've rebottled it. I know you're probably sick of hearing that, but if you're new here, this is not some kind of like homemade concoction. I just rebottled the Onami. Almost just put the Glossier lip gloss on. Like, that's how muscle memory it is for me at this point. I was like, oh, I'll put the red on this time to show them. No, we have Lily Lolo lip gloss today. That was a mouthful. So I got it in the shade Clear. That looks pink to me, doesn't it? To you? But this is technically clear. So, I mean, in the spirit of doing something fun, let's put a little bit of like pigment on my lips first, because clear, I don't know. In fact, what's more on brand right now than putting on the Generation G lip from Glossier in the shade Leo? Happy Leo season, friends! Leo is like a gorgeous, neutral, beigey brown. I swear, everything looks so much more severe on camera than it does in person right now. I do always like to kind of take the pigment off the top of my Cupid's bow, so it's a little bit less severe. And then I'm going to put this gloss on top. Ooh, smells like an old Bonnie Bell. Oh my God, that smell is so familiar. It's like a chocolate Bonnie Bell. That's what it smells like, wow. If you guys are like 22, Bonnie Bell used to make these things called lip smackers, and we used to buy them at like Walmart. And you know, you had a collection of them. It was kind of, you know, part of your personal brand to have different lip smackers and what you would choose. Get off of me. What is that? Is that food? My lip is just behaving strangely. But anyway, it does. It's for all my ladies who, you know, lived through the 90s in any kind of, you know, conscious way. This smells like a chocolate Bonnie Bell. Wow! Okay, so it's pretty thin. Like, it's definitely not giving me like that punch of gloss that I would really like, but it's lightweight on my lips. It does do a really good, nice, nourishing thing without kind of disturbing the pigmentation underneath, but it's not a Glossier lip gloss, guys. It's just not. Okay, so now let's pull up some information here. I'm not gonna go through every single thing. I'll talk about the prices on each of these products, and we'll talk about the ingredients in the complexion products, because that's kind of what really matters. Okay, so the BB Cream is $22. I just said the word BB Cream. And you get 1.4 ounces. So, I mean, it's a really good value compared to a lot of the clean beauty out there. Again, I got it in the shade Fair. They have one that's called Light, which probably would have done just fine. Might have been a little too deep for me. I'm kind of okay with just mixing the debronzy with the Fair and, you know, that being it, because this does look like it'd be a little bit yellow. And, oh my, they only have 3 shades. Lily Lolo, come on, y'all. That being the deepest shade, that's a crime, okay? No, that's not, we can't do that in 2019, friends. I did not realize that, Lily dang Lolo. We've got water, Capper triglyceride, glycerin. That's why they all, it just feels really nice and bouncy on my skin. Yeah, wheat germ, which is weird, I don't know why. Sweet almond oil, argan oil, lots of really healthy oils, bergamot, but I don't see any essential oils. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think that there are essential oils in this. I see like lavender oil, but not lavender essential oil. If I'm not mistaken, those are different things. Linalool, limonene, salicylate, tocopherol, pomegranate seed oil. I mean, you know, they pride themselves on being a clean brand. They're obviously putting these things in here because they think that they perform. So they've made a really genuine effort. Nothing really sticks out here as a red flag. So it says vegan friendly, silky creamy texture for smooth application, talc free, which is really important to a lot of you guys. Long wearing, stays true color all day, so apparently it's not going to oxidize, which is fantastic. Promotes skin luminescence. I love those kinds of claims that you can't prove. Oh, okay, well, we'll definitely check you on that skin luminescence. Contains sodium hyaluronate, organic aloe, so, you know, some guys, some of you guys don't love aloe in your products, and jojoba oil to moisturize while providing light coverage to the skin, toning, firming, and anti-aging effect. So I will say, like, obviously I haven't worn this long term to tell you whether it's like giving me anti-aging vibes, but I do feel like lifted and firmed. It definitely feels like a really high quality, like luxury foundation for having as little coverage as it does. Like, my skin looks awesome. I haven't done a zoom in yet. I guess we'll do a zoom in a minute. Award-winning Lily Lolo finishing powder from London sets makeup and gives ultimate staying power for hours of wear. Our sheer formula gives your makeup a fresh finish, perfect for achieving a flawless airbrushed look. Made with pure inert minerals and completely free of GMO, nanoparticles, talc, additives, harsh chemicals, parabens, gluten, bismuth, oxychloride, dyes, fillers, fragrance, preservatives, petroleum-based chemicals, and other questionable ingredients. Natural, mineral, gluten-free, and vegan. I want to look at all the ingredients though. Show me the Carfax. Okay, ingredients. Mica, which all depends on where you're sourcing it from. Iron oxide. Oh, that's it? I think that I just read all of the ingredients. Mica and iron oxide. Wait, seriously? Is that possible? I mean, I guess that the RMS is like 100% silica, but that's crazy. Okay. Thought there was gonna be more to it than that. But honestly, you guys, like, while obviously I don't know how this is going to play out for the rest of the day, this is definitely giving me Ilia vibes. That's the kind of finish that it's giving me powder-wise. Like, it's not a very, like, tight, locked-in set, but it's also extremely skin finish, satin, gorgeous, flexible, and lightweight. So the Ilia is cornstarch based, and this, if I'm reading those ingredients right, isn't. And also the Ilia is $34 for 0.32 ounces, so that's like, you know, close to $100 an ounce, versus the Lily Lolo where you get 0.16 ounces for $22, so it's actually more expensive by the ounce. Don't always be fooled, guys. Yeah. Story checks out. It's $137.50 an ounce. So this is actually more expensive pound for pound than the Ilia. It's important to crunch the numbers. So yes, I do think that it performs very similarly so far to the Ilia, but the Ilia, while corn-based, is still less expensive pound for pound. So yes, the Coralista Cheek Duo is $24 and you get 0.35 ounces. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not, like, a lot of this stuff is lower priced because you're actually getting less product. This is the same thing with, like, Pacifica a lot of times. Like, you'll see their products and you're like, oh, that's actually, you know, it's a little expensive at the drugstore, but it's, like, cheaper than what I expected it to be, but you're actually not getting that much product. So, like, always keep that kind of stuff in mind. The Pressed Blush is $20, so this was $20. However, I'm pretty sure that I got like a discount on this stuff. I think I ordered it like with some kind of like introductory code or something. It wasn't that expensive to get all this stuff. This little guy, the powder concealer, was $18 and you get 0.17 ounces. This is kind of the hero today, just so far. I really like the blushes. I like everything, honestly, but this thing is really cool. Like, I don't own anything like this. And once it won me over, like, I kind of feel like it belongs in my collection forever, like tuck it in my top pocket. So the ingredients are kaolin, titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, and iron oxide. So that means that it does have a little bit of a natural SPF in it, which is really cool. And it's super duper simple. So it just kind of goes to show, like, I don't understand why so many brands overcomplicate their formulas. It's not like it costs more to use fewer, better ingredients. So yes, that's $18. And then the lip gloss, they have lipsticks, they have lip pencils, all that stuff, but the lip gloss was $16. I'd rather have a Glossier lip gloss for that price, but I don't hate it. I think it's pretty, and it did turn my matte lipstick into a really pretty kind of cream lipstick look. it doesn't look like I'm wearing a lip gloss, it just looks like I'm wearing a cream lipstick. So we're going to jump into the wear test in a second, but first let me do my typical zoom in so you guys can see the frankly lovely finish that is on my face right now. You can see that my pores are blurred. I actually really enjoy the way that my under eyes look. Like that's not something I usually say. It's usually my one kind of caveat on any eye look is like, well, my under eyes always look like that. They always crack and like break up and whatever. That's pretty and it's blended and it's bright and it's dewy and it's bouncy, even though I've got a lot of different products on my face. Initially, the bronzer went on a little bit tough because it does stay dewier than I'm used to. It is not a dry everything down, give you a paper finish kind of setting powder. Some powders are, some powders aren't. And I see that more as something to keep in mind than like a reason that I don't like it. I do really like the powder. It's just like, keep in mind that you want to dab product on top of it initially instead of buffing it. That's all, just to kind of preserve the surface of it and not disturb that. But I think it's worth it to take that extra care to just be able to get something that is a little bit more locked in with powder, but still keep this really, really gorgeous skin finish. Actually, now that I say that, I really would compare these two. The Sheer Vivid Tinted Moisturizer, this is an SPF 20. This doesn't have SPF in it. This is a good bit more expensive. I think this is like twice the price, but you get 1.7 ounces here, 1.4 ounces here. The Ilia Sheer Vivid Tinted Moisturizer and the Lily Lolo BB Cream, these so far are behaving super similarly on my skin. Like they both have that kind of serumy bounce to them. They both kind of want to grab the product a little bit. And I honestly think that the powders behave really similarly too. So that's super interesting. I'm going to wear this for the rest of my day. I'm gonna see you guys in 8 hours. We will check in on all of this. Like I said, I'm going to do my best to create kind of suboptimal conditions so we can really see whether this performs, because I feel confident that this, under normal circumstances, a day at the office inside with air conditioning would be fine, you know? So I'm going to try, not sabotage, I'm not just gonna like rub my hands all over my face, but I'm gonna give it a real test. We're gonna see, you know what I mean? Like where it falls apart, when it falls apart, if it falls apart. So guys, I will see you at the end of my day. Hello, it's been a full 8 hours that I have been wearing this in very hot weather today. It was in the 90s today. I don't think it got up to like 100 or anything, but I've been out and about. I've definitely been sweating, kind of sweating right now. Also, tried to ignore my Kool-Aid lips. I got 2 more of the Glossier Vanillic Lip in the mail. I ordered them. I got Casino and Disco. So one of them is like a terracotta color and one of them is like a hot orange. And so I tried both of them on and then I ended up with this. But let's talk about makeup. I can't really find my words right now, so I'm going to make this short and sweet. One, the foundation is beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. I'm gonna zoom in and I'll show you, but it really stayed intact. I mean, it's just a very comfortable foundation, especially for hot weather. But you can see I'm shiny, and not just because of highlighter. Like, I'm kind of shiny on my chin and on my forehead and on my nose and stuff. And you guys, I am a dry skin girl. If I get shiny, it means while this is a beautiful foundation, I don't necessarily recommend it for people who have oily skin. You're gonna just get really frustrated with it sliding around. It doesn't have a lot, if any, ingredients that really make a big point of oil absorption. There's just not a lot of that there. And the powder, of course, is a super lightweight powder to begin with. It's kind of meant to maintain a dewy finish. And so if dewy sounds scary to you because it looks good for 5 minutes, but then it becomes an oil slick, this is definitely the case for this combination of things. The blushes, I just kind of crunched the numbers on them because, like we were talking about, the proportions of cost versus how much you get are a little bit different on this, and so it's kind of worth crunching that. So the blushes are like $68 an ounce, and that's in comparison to something like Cover FX, which is like $74 an ounce. That said, you know, yes, that's a better value, and also this is really, really beautiful. This color, especially the Coralista shade, so beautiful, and I actually really like the Tickled Pink because it does have less pigment to it and more sheen. You could almost use it as a highlighter, but it makes a really great mixing medium, which is what I like for a shimmer blush. If you are unfamiliar with my routine, my whole shimmer blush passion started with the Milani Luminoso, which is also a very highlightery blush. And when I say mixing medium, I mean essentially it helps you to blend the pigments that I call local color. That's kind of an art term. Basically the color that your eye perceives for that section of where it is. So it's like, oh, I want a pink cheek and I want a bronze kind of, I don't know, contour back of my cheekbones kind of thing, but you want to bridge that with something, and so you do have to use something that has more spreadability and a little less pigmentation to it, and a shimmer usually does the trick to kind of bridge the gap. That's really all the science there is behind it. Now that said, the blush duo is a way better value than the Tickled Pink. This is actually like, if I'm doing my math right, it looks like it's like $143 an ounce. So it's really inconsistent. I don't think they necessarily backed out of the calculus on their own that way. You know, pick your poison, but this is definitely more expensive pound for pound. But the Coralista Duo is a great value, and this highlighter is gorgeous. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's very what I like to call wearable, but it still has a lot of impact. You can still use it. I used it on my eyes. I didn't mention that like what I was doing in the time lapse was that I was just using the Coralista Duo as eyeshadow and highlighter before I put my mascara on. So that's also what's on my face. And the lip gloss, you do not need to spend, what is it, $16 on this? This is just not anything to write home about. I appreciate them having one in their line. I like that they have a good spectrum of products. I mean, someone might prefer kind of like a less glossy, lighter weight lip gloss, but it just doesn't have the impact that I prefer in a lip gloss. It's just not really doing the trick of giving me like bouncy, juicy, sexy lips, and that's what I like to have. But the big winner that I'm gonna show you when I zoom in, because it really is such an improvement on my typical eye situation. All of them are good. It's whether or not you think that they are a good value for the money, but I don't own anything like this. This to me is a lot like the Well People Bio Brightener in the sense of, I tried this and I went, huh, okay, that's something that I have never encountered before. I can't liken it to anything in the clean beauty category. I just think that this is really, really cool. Okay, can you see underneath my eyes? That is just night and day better than what I usually do. Like, this is gonna be one of those products that makes it into, I'm talking about the powder concealer, that makes it into all of my makeup routines going forward, at least if there's powder involved, because it's just such a little lifesaver. And it's still, for the most part, even stuck around underneath my nose. Like, I'm impressed with that. Broke up a little bit on my chin. I can feel my chin sweating right now, but it didn't go like full Pangea or anything. And again, that's because this is not a particularly heavyweight powder. I think that, you know, when you're using something that is gonna stay dewy over the course of the day, it is really hard to then set that with a powder without it either looking cakey or breaking up on you over the day. And I'm just kind of learning the value of matching a powder with a foundation. It really is important to kind of have a dewy powder in your routine to go with your dewy foundations, I guess. So I do still stand by the comparison to the LES Sheer Vivid. I think that these are really, really comparable with the exception of the SPF that's in this, but you should be wearing a separate SPF anyway. This is $22 for 1.4 fluid ounces. This is a hero product. It is really, really beautiful on the skin. Like I said, it's not for oily skinned people, but if you are looking for something that's going to stay dewy but still behave like a nice, reliable, prestige product, this is really, really good, and it's not anywhere near as expensive as this. So really, really, oh, and it also doesn't have dimethicone in it, so that's a huge win. So that's where I leave you guys today. I hope that this was helpful for you. This was certainly helpful for me. This is another one of those foundations where I wasn't sure I was gonna have like a really valuable take on it because it is so low coverage. But when something performs this well, when something lasts all day like this but still wears so lightly on the skin, especially for the price, I mean, it makes my job easy. So guys, if you did enjoy this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. We would all love to have you. I have merch. I have a vlog channel that I've not uploaded to in a while, so sorry. It's been Mercury retrograde. I've just been self-caring a lot and just not putting a lot of pressure on myself, so I hope that you guys have been doing the same for yourselves. We are in the home stretch, friends, but it's just been a very, like, clarity bringing time for me, so it hasn't been bad at all. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.